This call is now being recorded.
Yes, Gunta, can you confirm me whether my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's a happy to see you all because I know the interested in design thinking, the people who are really interested, they are genuine. They have joined this talk, so that would be helpful for us to learn together. So today my topic is design thinking and its applications. So many times we might heard about the design thinking and thinking out of box, many things, but actually what is this design thinking? That we'll see few points about this and also few examples how it is helping for the innovation that we'll discuss. So today's my agenda is need for design thinking. Why we need to go for the design thinking? Being a professionals or being the many things we are handling at the same time, why we need to focus on the design thinking, that we'll discuss. And what is actually design thinking, that also we'll see. And how, if you are thinking in that way, out of box, or if you are thinking differently, uniquely, then what should be the process. So the systematic process, which is nothing but the design thinking process, that we'll see how design thinking is going to help find out some innovations and help the society in order to give the service or in order to provide some products which will be useful for the society, as well as which can help the society to live the better life. That we'll see. And also the list of applications where we can apply the design thinking. This is a very interesting topic, even though the many people are not aware of that, because it was not given that much the exposure. But now, especially during these pandemic situations, the many people are started thinking in differently, so that the people's lives can be improved. So even we can see not only the various applications, we can see how it is going to help in the education systems. And some of the practical examples, actually the design thinking help with the society or the individuals at their level, that we'll see. So before discussing the design thinking, we'll see some of the quotes on design thinking. Actually, what do you mean by the design thinking? What are the very popular persons who thought uniquely, who thought differently from the other persons, and what they achieved? So from their point of view, what they are saying about the design thinking, that we'll see. As for the Albert Einstein, I think he is the famous personality, we know everyone. Albert Einstein, he was saying that we cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So even that focus, that we need to think differently. And the creativity is nothing but the way to design the invisible. That is by the Professor Salam AI. So as for this, the creativity is nothing but the way to design the invisible, which we are unable to see today, but which could be produced tomorrow. That helps the betterment of society or the individual, that we could able to see. That is nothing but the creativity. The world of imagination. I think as a young minds, the many maximum students are there in this group, I think. As the young minds, you may having the many imaginations, but actually how we can use such imagination power for our betterment. Let's use this power to help each other, as per the Dept. So recognizing the need is the primary condition for design. So passion is the energy. Feel the power that comes from the focusing on what excites you. So out of all these sayings or all these quotes from the famous personalities, we can understand that we are thinking as a normal person or as usual as they all, we may in the same way. That means we may not think in the different way, so that the out of box thinking actually it may help us to solve the problems very effectively. Not only the effectively, that helps us to live the life efficiently. So nowadays, if you see many things, suppose here we'll see the before starting actual the talk on design thinking, we'll see some problems. I think all students are here. So these are the three problems majorly which we can identify. When reading the newspapers, some of these news, my focus was on these such news, so that we need to think about this. Suppose the problem one, if you think about it, that is like women from the Thane Kalyan are quitting the jobs due to the overcrowd. I think you could able to see the picture how the crowd is coming out from the train. I think even some of our students are the faculty problems. So if you see the image 2, that is the picture 2, see image of the people in India crowding to fill buckets with clean drinking water. If you focus on that, actually there are so much crowd, so much trouble, so much pain, but which is not efficiently, not effectively. In fact, sometimes it may cause to the many problems, consequences, and also actually what they are trying to get the water, that may miss out also. Rather than this, they may lose or waste the water, which is the precious for the situation. If you see that the third one, wasting water, there is no control, no stopping. The water is going on without using. But literally, if you think about the present day, especially in Mumbai or in overall India also, the water crisis is there. So now I request all the students who have joined this meeting, can you able to solve these problems? Can you focus? If you are planning something or you think from your ideas, I think because you are the unique person, you can give the good ideas that can help somebody's betterment, somebody's or someone's lives will be more easier. So now I request all the students, just you provide the solutions. So at the end of my talk, I'm going to ask the solution, so that if possible, you can write in the chat box also, so that how you are going to, what is your ideas? Maybe always your ideas may be the better one also, that can help someone also. So not only these are the problems which attracted my focus. See around you, you could have faced many problems or many challenges around you. You could able to see many things. So just from the point of your view, what you could do, how you can solve this. Just think about it, and if possible, you write in the chat box. Okay, especially the yesterday's news, when I was reading this newspaper, really it was a very shocking news. That is the over 2,000 kg of adulterated paneer seized in Mumbai. 7 arrested. Why it was shocking means, actually this paneer, it is actually in the Chambur only, this shop is. It was very famous. Even personally, I purchased the products of this shop. Not only that, I suggested to my friends also. Now, after reading this news, really it was shocked. Because here you can see that during the investigation, it was revealed that the accused used unsweetened milk powder, light palm oil, and chemicals to produce the harmful and low quality cheese. See, it's the chemicals they were using to produce the harmful cheese, which is the really not helpful for the healthy environment or for the health. So, and the low quality cheese disguised as a Malai Paneer. Meanwhile, 7 persons, including dairy owner, have been arrested. This was the yesterday news. After reading this news, really I got into the shock. Then I was actually thinking, is there any method to detect harmful chemicals existence prior to purchase? If some method or something is there, then it would have been better for us to purchase and avoid such harmful chemicals, which are very harmful to our health. So can you do something for such problems which are around us? So that is actually where we need to think for the design thinking uniquely. So all these, the problems which are surrounded by us, can have the solutions. Maybe we are the persons who can provide the solution for that. How means always it could be like we need to think differently. If you are thinking in the same process as everyone is thinking, I think we may not see the other side of the problem. Yeah, Gunita, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that here, so what can we do? So in order to find some solutions, always we need to think differently. If you are thinking the same, the traditional way or whatever everyone is thinking, and we are not bothering about why we need to think such things, it is not up to us. No, that should not be the way. That we need to think differently, how it could be avoided. Think uniquely. Because really I believe that the greatest gift to the human being is every human being is a unique person and they can think uniquely. So that we need to utilize. Think uniquely. In order to think uniquely, think differently, we need to stand firmly. That is, maybe here you can see some fish which are the green color, the other one are the white color. These green are going against the flow. Sometimes if you are planning to travel along with the crowd, you may not think differently. You may not think uniquely. We know that the Aristotle, when he was sitting under the apple tree, when the apple came down, then he started thinking why it is coming down. I think many people prior to him might have experienced the same thing, but they have not thought about it. But when he started thinking in that way, then he could able to find out, produce some solutions. So that here now the need of the design thinking is, yes, we need to use our talents, or we need to use the unique thinking that gift in order to provide the solutions to the problems where surrounding us. The problems may be surrounded by us only. So we need to focus on it. So before for that, actually we need to see some, we'll discuss some important concepts of what is design, and the basic things only we'll see. That is, what is design thinking? Okay, we need to think differently than how it is. Actually, here we can see design thinking is the formal definition is given by the Projecta Kulkarni. She is the innovator and she started her own innovation frame. And as for her, thinking is the method of creative problem solving. It draws up logic, imagination, intuition, and systematic reasoning to explore possibilities of what could be and to create desired outcomes that benefit end users, having empathy as a key filter. Yes, the day by day we may seeing many things, but we are not focusing much. But when we are reacting with the empathy, with the passion, then we may start thinking something new in order to provide some solution to such problems. Either you can use your logics, or you can use your imaginations, or you can use intuitions, or some systematic reasonings also. Here, how the design thinking is different from the analytical thinking and the intuitive thinking is, here you can see in this diagram, analytical thinking are the 100% reliable. Analytical thinking, it requires the evidence. If you have some problems, in order to provide the solutions, you need to follow the systematic steps. And more than it may be the perspective of the analysis, some statistics, or we can use some mathematical calculations also. But that is 100% reliable, trustworthy. The other thinking is intuitive thinking. Sometimes intuitive thinking is nothing but the, generally we are saying a gut feeling. Sometimes the people say something, but we may feel from the inside that whatever we are doing, whether it is the right or wrong, that is nothing but the intuitive thinking. Always that is actually the gift given to the human being. Intuitive thinking is 100% valid, which is connected internally. So the design thinking is in between, the mix of these two, analytical thinking as well as the intuitive thinking. Now, who can do the design thinking? Is everyone designer? Yes. Everyone is designer. Do you consider yourself as a designer? If you ask yourself, sometimes you may feel that, no, I'm not a designer. I don't have any talents like, or I'm not, generally, many people are trained to think that the design is only for creatives and artists. People with the talent for it. Many times we are misunderstanding in that way, but we all are capable of being designers because everyone is unique. So everyone who makes the decisions that affect other people is a designer. Design is all about the intentionality. That's how you are going to take the decisions, or how you are going to make a choices that create value for the intended audience. Your choice is helping someone's betterment, is adding value to the someone's life. Suppose yeah. Okay. Now, suppose even if you find out, if you see the famous personalities who had identified or became innovators and find out something, they had seen the same things in different way. Suppose example of the Mother Teresa, if you consider, even during that time also there are so many people are there, but all are not taken the decisions, make a choices to create the values of in underprivileged people's life. She did, so she became the unique personality. So, but here the thing is, what can we understand is every person, every one of us is a designer only. Only it depends on our choice, how we are going to create the value for someone's life. It is teachable. Not only that, the design thinking is teachable and learnable, and when done right, it helps you come up with the innovative solutions. As for the Lisa Solomon, she is the world innovator. As for that, design thinking is the teachable. Still, if you think that design thinking is not our subject, we cannot get into that. So that is the actual misconception. You can learn. You can teach also when it can done right. So here from the figure you can understand the design is teachable. See, design allows us to see the problems from their perspective using empathy and perspective taking. Actually, here the word empathy is a very important thing. After seeing some situations, if you feel bad in your heart, inside, or having some empathy, feeling sorry for something, and literally you think that you need to help someone, then that could be the possible. So all the innovations that today which are in the very popular way, all these started with at the thinking process, the thought process. There is one saying that always the actions come from all actions which we are doing, that actually starts prior to the actions with the thought process. So really, if you could able to see the problems and think differently, then you can feel to do something. Where if you are trying, then you definitely can provide something for the betterment of such people. The key to be willing to put our preconceived judgments and beliefs aside to do that. Generally, the people you might be seeing the many people on the roadside from the childhood onwards. So it became a habit for us to see and ignore. But really now, in order to provide something or help someone, then we need to think in the different way. For that we need to really willing to give our preconceived judgments or the beliefs, which we are already still doing, that we need to leave. We need to give up and need to think differently. It takes practice and discipline, but when you learn how to do this, it unlocks the infinite possibles that we need to believe. That is possible, really. Because the many people, the innovators are today in the world or even in India also, they are not great rich people also. They are not from the great places also. Even some villages or some very unprivileged people backgrounds also they are there. But they started feel the pain of the other person and thought differently. Even some examples we'll see at the end. So now basic concepts of the design process is, the design process is going to wide and then narrowing, often more than once, to reach to the optimal solution, given certain constraints. So always what can we do means here that the design thinking when we are doing, it is not like the complete process you cannot able to fix it at the one time. It is always that we need to stretch. We need to be flexible even in our thinking also. That is like it may going wide, and also sometimes we may focus to the only particular thing, that is narrowing, and again you may stretch it in order to find out the optimal solutions. Because sometimes there is a possibility that for one particular problem, n number of solutions are there. But again, out of n number of solutions, which is the optimal solution? So that we could able to find out. For that, these are the 4 things are very important attributes, 4 steps: learning, ideating, refining, delivering. These are the 4 steps that our designers will do. We'll see one by one. What is the learning? Learning is the activities which talking to users and potential users, collecting the data from the users, talking with the stakeholders. Stakeholders are nothing but who are involved to that particular one, and looking at the competitors and the adjacent products. Competitors means that if it is in the future, if it is already implemented and became a big organization, then you can think about it. Here, one example I'll tell you. Literally, it was in the newspaper also during the lockdown. Really, during the lockdown, the people suffered a lot. Every person, there is no difference. But even in one girl from the Chennai, her father is a vegetable vendor. So during the lockdown, his business was completely down. But the thing is, he was whatever he was earning, that was for his family bread. He was the breadwinner for them. But the girl she was studying. But when she thought of that, she had seen her father sitting at vegetable shop and unable to make any profits, unable to gain or unable to earn anything. Then she started something could be done. And she talked to her father and the persons also around them, that is the similar people. And she started to design one app so that the people can give the online order, so that after receiving that online order, as per the requirement of the customers, the vegetables can be delivered to the address. When she started, initially the people laughed at her. It means even many people criticized her. It is not going to do anything. But after some time, some days, it started increasing its business. Then now today we can see there are many such apps are available in all over India also. So that that makes the solutions for the vegetable vendor as well as the people who are unable to come out of their houses and purchase the vegetables. Daily needs also met. That is the learning. Learning is not only possible by reading something. We need to talk to the people actually who are facing such problems. We need to talk to them. We need to sit with them and we need to discuss. And we need to see the problems from their point of view. That is the learning. Then the second step is ideating. Now, once you understood the problems of that particular person, if you understood the pain of that particular person, then you can start thinking over it, how it could be solved, including beginning to draw some of these ideas. You may draw some drawing also, running workshops too. You can keep some awareness programs, else explore some ideas in the larger teams as well. Many things can be done. Once actually if you feel the passion, the first place in the learning, if you feel the passion, then you can think about the ideas. Ideas may be more, but out of that again you need to sit and do the things which is the best one, which can work practically. For that, the refining, the third step is the early ideas will need to be refined so that the designers have some time to improve on them based on how potential users respond and what's technically feasible. Even as the person, you may have so many solutions also, one problem, but you may have the 4 solutions. That is possible, quite possible. Then what we need to do? Literally, you need to sit and think which are the practically going to help, which ideas are improving as per the requirements of the person. As per the requirements means as per the person who is going through that pain or going through that particular problem. We need to feel that. Then we can have the better solutions, which is refined one. The finally delivering, this should be the part of ongoing process like agile, not all at once. Means the delivering means the complete app with the complete all the enhanced features you may not deliver at the same time. In the beginning, you may just give the basic needs which can be solved. The many features, even if you take the example of any app you are creating, initially you can create the basic features which are really required. Then you can enhance them one by one afterwards. That is the delivery. So the design process, fundamentals of the design process, these are the 4 steps which are required: learning, ideating, refining, and delivery. Yes, these are the steps. Then 5 stages of design thinking. So while thinking, what are the 5 stages? Always the design thinking is human-centered approach. If you see any innovator, they started their innovation because they had seen some people who are facing such problems. Because they felt the pain of the persons who are going through such problems. So always the design thinking, human-centered approach. It's a creative problem-solving process that draws on the tools. Tools are nothing but the whatever things are there in our hands. Maybe you know something. As a computer background student, you may know, you can help them in order to implement some apps or some other electronics, or some other students may help them to find out something from their knowledge, whatever they are having. Techniques of designers to tackle frustrating problems. But ultimate goal should be we need to focus on the problems which are frustrating someone's life. It may not be to us, but we need to see that, we could able to see that. That's what there is some saying is there that always we need to ask God that bless us, God, for someone's blessing. Some person was saying like, always when you are asking the blessings from God in order to bless others, definitely your wish will be granted. Yes, it is every privilege is given to us means we need to use such resources or privileges in order to help someone who are unable to get some things like us. So rooted in the idea of empathy, the notion of the getting really close to the user, standing in their shoes, understanding their experiences, and most importantly, their pain points. Even when we are thinking it's a pain point, empathy means the one more innovator I could able to recollect is from the Delhi. Actually, that boy, he was doing his engineering. That boy's mother was facing with the asthma problem. So every time whenever she is going through such pain, that boy unable to see her mother's pain, and he felt pain, and he started thinking to do something. And he started thinking and he started his innovations. It took around 1-2 years around, and he collaborated with his professors and teams, and he came up with some solutions that one particular device he could able to produce. I think it was in the newspaper. If you want, you can see it later. So that is when actually the pain points are the important triggers for the innovations. What is it about existing products and services that doesn't work for them? And how can we improve that? That we can see. Yeah, here the 5 stages we could able to see here. This is not my own idea. This is taken from the Stanford School design thinking as a part of the design thinking. These 5 stages are empathize. The first one is the empathy. Empathy is like how it could be means you can talk to them personally. Shadowing, that you can feel, you can wear their shoes and seek to understand. Sometimes only listening may not give us only listening or reading about that may not give us the complete idea. Really, if you get into that problems, you may understand many things. And non-judgmental. Simply we are doing that, means thinking in that way that maybe because of their person's problems they are doing like that or they are living like that. No, that judgmental should not be there. It should be always non-judgmental. Empathy, passion, the kindness that you can show it to others. Second is define. The second stage of the design thinking is define. So now once you feel the pain, then what could be done next? Then you stick persons, role objectives, what it could be done, and decisions. Again, always there is a choice whether you want to go ahead with that pain, you want to help such people or don't want to. There is a choice. That choice you have to make it decisions. You have to choose. And the challenges, even if you are making the choice to do something or to help some people, then always you may face some problems, so challenges. But don't worry, don't give up at that stage. You sit, start thinking over that and write what are the challenges and even start thinking for the solutions how it could be overcome. Always it is possible. You may not face such situations, but someone will be there, maybe from your friends or maybe from your families, maybe someone from the other groups also can help you in such a way. So pain points. So what is the exact problems they are facing that we could able to identify? That is the defining. The third one is ideate. Now first one, we feel the pain, then second one, we could able to frame the solutions for the pain. The third one is ideate. So now for that, what is the solution means? What could be done? How it can be solved? Share the ideas. Always it may be more than one also, not necessary one. Share ideas. All ideas worthy. Diverse or converse. Yes and thinking. Prioritize. Again, out of all your ideas, you may feel sometimes the particular, suppose to find out, assume that you are producing 3 ideas, A, B, C. You may feel that A idea is the best one. But actually when that best should be identified from the person who is facing that problem. So that is the reason you need to share your ideas, you need to discuss with them. So then ideate, then prototype. Start working in actions. Markups, storyboards. Keep it simple. Fail and pass. Don't worry. You may get the failures also. Don't worry. Go ahead. If you're facing the failures, then only you can able to think in that way that how you are going to overcome. And iterate quickly. That may be, means repeatedly may happen, but still we can work on that. And finally, test. Understand the impediments, what works, role play, and iterate quickly. How it is going to actually means the prototype. Once you have decided design, now you can apply. That is the test. The person saying whatever we felt in the first stage, that we can fulfill with the solutions at the final stage. So these are the 5 stages of the designer thinking. Okay, now design thinking to design innovation. The design thinking is helping to create the innovative products, maybe thoughts, maybe the services, innovations. It helps us to lead to the innovation. Here you can see in the picture, The lady is carrying water pot. Now we need to provide the solution for our that is either it could be we can see in such a way that is viability, desirability, feasibility. Viability is ability to work and survive. That means the practically it should be possible. Desirable, ability to feel good. Means after providing the solutions, they should feel better. That should add the value. Then feasibility is ability to be conveniently done. That is all the technological support could able to possible. Means all practically it could able to done. So for the design thinking here we can see these three HCD we can say hear, create, deliver. Listen to the persons who are in that particular situation. Then create your ideas and solutions or services and deliver to that person so that their life could be the better. So here we can see even that the design thinking, here even one HCD you can remember. HCD, hearing means it should not be the hearing is in other way, different approach, it should be empathizing. Empathize, understand their way and define. Then create is ideate, prototype. Always not necessary that all the innovations in the form of products only. It may be in the form of ideas also. Deliver. The deliver products or the services or ideas that should help to improve, implement and validate. So these are the design thinking, how it can lead to the innovations. Now suppose example, if you see here, the character traits of the designer thinking is how the design thinking mindset would be there. That is each of us can develop to enhance our creative thinking of aptitude. Here you can see this diagram. It is the Edson's approach. Edson's approach was an early example of the what is now called as a design thinking. So here we need the 5 characteristics: optimism, empathy, always it should be in the positive way, empathy, kindness, critical thinking, think differently and out of box, think uniquely, curious mind. So always the curiosity is the most important. Curious mind. Need to do something for them. Collaborate to innovate. So always it may be possible that you alone may not do that. Then you collaborate with your friends, with your team members, with your classmates, with your society, or with your professors. Collaborate. Share your ideas. Start working on that. But don't give up. See, here I can say that the designer thinking, if you want to do something innovation, you need courage. You need boldness. You should able to willing to come out of the comfort zone. Then only you could able to do something. Here you can see that some sayings of the Socrates. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. See here, this is again, it is not my picture, it is taken from the Google only. Comfort zone. Always we are, wherever we are safe, comfortable and in control, we are not thinking about anything else. So next, the find excuses. If you are willing to come out of your comfort zone, then immediately you may face some fear. That is the fear zone, which is intimidated by the outside ideas, lack of confidence, find excuses. I may not do that. Maybe the difficult. It requires lot of time. It requires lot of energy. Who is going to use such ideas? All these are the things we will think in the fear zone. We could able to overcome even such fear zone. Yes, the problem is there, idea is there, I can do something. Maybe today I may not have complete knowledge with me, but I can learn. It is possible for me, I can learn, I can sit, I can give my time. The problem solving, I need to do something for them. I need to do some solution. I need to provide some solution for this. Especially in our Mumbai city, I think the many we are from the Mumbai city only. There are the pollution, even the food day to day, whatever food intakes also is completely polluted, and means many chemicals are using in that food products. Think about it, so that the better health can be seen in the people of Mumbai. Learning zone, receptive to outside input, acquire new skills. It is always possible if you are willing. Even we can learn till our last breath also. That is possible. Expand vision. Sometimes why growth zone? This is actually growth zone. Why we are saying means when we are only alive, means we are isolating only ourselves, our ideas, we are trying to implement alone. That the growth we may not see. When we are collaborating with someone else outside, or someone with friends or with a different person, then we may have that the expansion. The scope would be increased. Growth zone. Surpass milestones and define new goals. So that as a designer thinking, you should be the courageous. The boldness should be there. I think you are following the what is the design thinking. Now list of applications, where can we use? Whatever I explained is it's only basics. If you are trying to listen or study the examples of the design thinking, there are lots of resources are available. But still the practically only now it's became a very practically the many people are into that, and they are making it as their own professions also. You can think in that way. Yeah, list of applications where we can use actually this design thinking is, design thinking helps in business by optimizing the process of product creation, marketing and renewal of contracts. This business organizations is already using design thinking. Now, due to these pandemic situations, especially during this this present period, we can see that the many the innovation and the design thinking applications are increased in many areas. Information technology, the IT industry makes a lot of products that require trials and proof of concept. Education, the education sector can make the best use of design thinking by taking feedback from the students on their requirements, goals, challenges they are facing in the classroom. Healthcare, experts worldwide are concerned about how to bring quality healthcare to people at low cost. Even in the market also today we can be able to see many instruments which are supporting the health issues. That is after design thinking only. The application in the education system, so how we can use design thinking is here. The one domain which design thinking finds a use application is the education sector. See, when there is a need, there is a scope for the innovation. See, during the lockdown, then only we can understand, we could able to see that the from offline to online classes, how it could be. For online, there are so many apps we use. We could able to become familiar with that. Educators are using design thinking extensively to improve the quality of education. How it could be done in the better way. Design thinking also helps the students to learn how to work collaboratively in a team. It is also helping the students how you can work with your friends, with your team. So one example for the education system is Red Lab Group. and that is initiation of the Stanford University. They started at the Graduate School of Education as a Red Lab group, which conducts the research on how to apply design thinking in kindergarten, first, 12th grade, and secondary and post-secondary academic settings. Even in the education, so the many ways we can apply the design thinking. Even especially when you are doing some, you are in your studies also. When you are writing some algorithms, when you are implementing some algorithms, you may see the limitations of such algorithms also. Then you think about it, how it could be overcome. Then ultimately, in order to avoid such limitations, you may come up with the best solutions. You can start working on that. That is how the nothing but the how we are doing in the research. Some practical examples here is that the list of our top 10 examples. These are already became a very popular innovations out of design thinking. AT Kingwood Trust UK, Burberry, Uber. Now I think everyone knows about the Uber, Airbnb, BNB, Bank of America, Designing of the Homeless, Clean Team, Hillpack, IBM, Stanford Hospital, Netflix. Netflix also became a very popular now. I think everyone knows. This came out of only some thought. From the thinking, they started working on their thought process, then came up with the solutions, which is executed in the form of action. Nowadays, we can see that the many apps which became very, very popular during the last 2 years, especially depending on the situation. Always we believe that the necessity is the mother of invention. Not only invention, it's innovations also. Inventions, innovations. Yeah, I think even maximum people might be knowing about these apps. During the lockdown, the people were afraid to come out of their homes. And even if the milk person is coming to home also, it was really difficult to take that milk. Now, even means it was a very, even ordering or some places, milk person also stopped to go and generate, give. So, Country Delight is one of the, it is app which helps to deliver all the milk products. Prajo is the one of the famous app which are using for the vegetable vendors. Even we can see veggies, fresh to home, Licious, Swiggy's, Zomato, all these are the apps became popular. All these started only with the thinking, only with the ideas. All these started only with initially they felt the pain of the other person. Then they started thinking over this. Then this is the actions they carried out. So now today also it is not impossible for you also, especially as a young minds. You may have the many ideas. So don't waste your ideas and use your ideas, your imagination power for someone's betterment of life. Do something for society also. Always it may not give you the profits in the form of money only, but it gives you the satisfaction. It gives the servicing satisfaction. That also will help, means needed. So ultimately you can do something for the betterment of the society, or you can do something for the betterment of some individuals. Maybe think about some underprivileged people, think about some senior citizen people, think about some handicapped people, and do something so that their life can be added some value. Their life can be improved because of you. So if you remember many people who are in the today's the innovators, the popular personalities, they did something. They started with their thinking only. But one thing I was sure that They are not stopped with only thinking. They started working on that. So you also can do that. I think everyone can think in that way. Thank you very much for joining this. Now I'll stop it here. If you have any doubts, you can ask. I think solutions we could able to see in the chart. Chandini, I don't know whether this is a doable thing, but we can change the arrangement of seats in a little more congested way for few compartments and make the ticket for the compartment train bit inexpensive. More people would be able to sit. Okay, good, very good. Okay, only the others are not given their ideas. Share your ideas, that will help you. Good, Chandani. Yeah.
Thank you
Ah.
very much. It was a very, very nice session. And the root of all this is empathy. So I think it's very important for the youth of the population to understand what is empathy. And one step below empathy is emotional stability. So if you are emotionally stable, you will be able to empathize. Others, if you are carried away with emotions, you won't be able to empathize. So I think we should now try to develop that attitude of empathy and emotional stability among the youth of the population, because then they will be able to identify a problem and feel the problem. In fact, if you go back, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam had really big concern for those who were given artificial limbs. The artificial limbs given for the lame people was so heavy that they couldn't lift it and walk, though it was supposed to be helping them to walk. The dead weight of that artificial limb then he empathized it and identified, and he started working on material science and tried to check how the weight of that particular artificial limb can be reduced. At the same time, be able to take the weight of the person. So that's how things evolve.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Eh, Yes, sir. Anyone? Okay,
Ma'am,
Gunita.
Om Prakash has some doubt.
Om Prakash. Yes, Om Prakash, you can. Is there?
He's there. His camera is on, I guess. It might be by mistake, I guess.
Okay.
So
Okay,
I'll,
thank you, Gunita, for the joining session. I'm handovering to you. Just wait.
yeah. So thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful session and teaching us the fundamental of design and thinking and how design thinking can help to solve so many problems. So in the end, I have shared the link for feedback form. So everyone can fill it, and at the end, you will get a certificate of this session. Thank you everyone for joining this session. And you can fill the feedback form and leave this meet.
Gunita, someone is asking some doubt in the chat box.
Okay, ma'am. You can give your college mail ID.
Yeah, thank you all once again. Gunita, can I take?
What, ma'am?
I'll leave then.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.